this week we've got over 25 new updates coming out of HighLevel, specifically their annual summit that they hosted last week in Dallas. You are not going to want to miss this week's weekly breakdown coming up right now. All right, guys, first up, we now have the ability to select which phone number we want to send text messages from directly inside the conversations in our HighLevel account. So if you guys haven't seen this already, it is a labs feature, so you might want to try enabling it in labs first. If you do have any issues with this, we have heard of people complaining about loss of functionality. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It wasn't a huge deal. It wasn't something that was super widespread, but it is a labs feature, so you can enable it and then disable it. It's supposed to go live on November 10th, based on the last thing that I read. So anyways, you have the ability now to come in here. I showed you the ability to do this in workflows recently, where in a workflow, you can define which phone number messages are being sent from. Now you can do it inside the conversations as well by just hitting that drop down there. So before, you had no ability to control this. Your only ability to control this was to use HighLevel's like phone number hierarchy rules, which were kind of a pain to understand, much less remember. So this is a really cool feature that we're really excited about, the ability to customize what number you're sending a text from. All right, next up, a couple of updates to the ad manager. Good news, we finally got our ads account linked in here, so I can show you guys what the interface of this ad manager looks like. We do have a client, a enterprise client that is going to be implementing the ad manager, not only the ad manager, but the new feature that the ad manager just rolled out, which is an integration with the template library. Maybe that's not the right word to use for it, but basically now the template library supports ad manager templates. So templates that you've created in the ad manager. So this means at the enterprise level, you can create ad copy and ad creative that is approved by corporate, right? Approved by whatever your compliance authority is, and pushed through sub accounts, through snapshots into your HighLevel accounts, into your loan officer's HighLevel accounts, and you can make it so that they can only use those templates. Really, really cool feature. We're excited about that piece, but also the other thing that's new this week is the ability to manage audiences inside of the ad manager. So I'm in the ad manager and I access this by going to settings. I can now toggle between setting up conversion actions and then setting up custom audiences based on that. Now, one thing that I see is that the conversion actions that already exist in this ad account did not pull through. That might just be based on who linked it up, not having access to those conversion actions. We'll check on it. If you see that same thing though, let me know. It shouldn't operate that way. We definitely should be able to have access to our existing conversion events and our existing audiences. So check it out, Ad Manager. There is a cost to this, which is why at scale, I don't think that this is gonna be an option for like larger implementations, like a company-wide ad budget. But for individual loan officers, definitely worth it. The convenience of them being able to manage this inside their account, and again, for you to be able to create templates that you then push to them, really, really cool. And we're excited about this. All right, next up, a couple updates and workflows. This first one is kind of a niche one that a lot of you guys probably aren't going to benefit from right away, but this like a lot of this stuff that I cover is meant more to get your imaginations rolling based on what I see could be used in the mortgage industry, not necessarily what loan officers are using right now. This is one of the things that I think could be very useful, especially for those of you guys that like ManyChat or have used ManyChat in the past to run like Instagram DM triggered ads or ad campaigns, right? Where you can, hey, comment below this, and then you DM them, deliver, convert them into a lead, whatever, right? So this gives you the ability now to be able to create buttons and quick replies inside of your HighLevel workflow. And so this is cool. You have to trigger this off of a comment on a post or an Instagram comment on a post. So you can select it, trigger this off of either one of those. But then when you do that, you have the ability to trigger an interactive messenger item, right? Task, whatever. So in here, you see Instagram is like grayed out here. And the reason for that is because my trigger is Facebook. If I had an Instagram trigger in here, I would be able to do that. It tells you that right there in the hover action. But if you click on this, before it was just very free form. If you guys have been involved in one of these conversations, then you guys have seen before. Let me see. This might not be. Okay, there it is. You've seen these like suggested replies. So this is essentially what you can define now in your workflow action. You send them a message and then you can define what button, like what responses they can or should select. And this makes it easier for them to engage with you. Really cool, like niche new feature. And I say niche because I don't know any loan officers that are doing this. But I do think that it's going to become bigger. I think this, the ability to comment via DM, like I said, ManyChat, feed that into a chat bot that then engages with your lead via Instagram. I think that that will generate a lot more intent than the traditional Facebook ads that we've seen for the last few years. All right, next up, really excited for this. This is the ability to add much better commentary around workflows, the ability to really spell out exactly what workflows do and leave notes for your team or for other people that might be working in the account. This is really cool for us, right? I mean, logistically, like being able to communicate what goes on in workflows effectively is a huge challenge. So being able to use these notes, they have a general workflow note section where you can save something that is basically just saved for the entire workflow, but then also each individual action can have its own notes as well. And then those pull up when you go to the notes section here. Also, you have the sticky note functionality, which I think we'll see potentially abuse of. I think that workflows might end up looking a little crazy if we put too much of these, but this is cool for something that you want to prominently call out on the page. And then you can always hide the notes if it does get too crazy. So anyways, this is really cool. We're really excited about this. The ability to communicate better with our clients, the ability for clients to communicate better with us, their intention inside of a workflow, and yeah, just all around better communication. We're really excited about this. All right, next up, this is something that has been overdue, like years overdue. We are so excited about this. We have been waiting for this. Probably since 2018, 2019, like since we started using HighLevel, we've been waiting for this. You now have the ability to designate holidays, to designate basically days or periods of time that your workflows go on pause, but then resume automatically, and all their functionality, it works as expected, right? You're not breaking anything by pausing this. This is something that is intended for use for holidays, period, breaks that you don't want to be sending communication and whatever it is. You can set the dates that you define in here as annually. So, for us, if we wanted to go in here and say, you know what, we want to make sure that on Christmas Eve, we stop sending messages until the day after Christmas at, let's say 8 a.m. Boom. Oops. Okay. So you can see it's not as straightforward as it looks, or I'm just stupid. Just kidding. Let's see. All right. Confirm here. All right. Perfect. Right. We can just select which workflows we want to apply this to. We can apply it to all published workflows. That's probably the way that I would do this on a holiday, right? And then I can copy this and set up new dates if I want to. I can set this up to go annually. Awesome. Save. Boom. So now I have a rule that every year my workflows are going to pause from midnight on Christmas Eve to the day after Christmas at 8 a.m. Cool feature. Definitely excited about this. While I'm in here, this is the other piece that I wanted to show, the last piece in workflows, at least for now. You can see all the tabs we have on the top. Crazy week of updates, like I said. You now have the ability to subscribe to a Workflow Pro plan. This is for all of you guys that run a corporate level Arrive integration out of one sub account. This is going to be really beneficial for you. This is going to save you at a minimum. I shouldn't say at a minimum. At most, it'll save you, let me see. Right here, it says it's $14.99 for 10,000 premium actions. This is with agency markup that they put in there by default. But basically you would want to set this to $10 if you have your own agency. $10 is like what HighLevel charges for it. So basically you're getting 10,000 premium workflow actions and triggers for $10. Now these typically cost a cent a piece. And so that means you're essentially getting a 90% savings. It would normally cost you $100 for 10,000 premium actions, and this will cost you $10. And so at most it's going to save you $90 right now because you can't refill it. Like you can't get more after you get one. So at most this will save you, $100, yeah, $100 or so right now, $90 right now, in one sub account. And then the more sub accounts you add this to, the more this can potentially save you. But definitely cool. Definitely something that we look forward to them expanding and being able to allow this to be up to, say, 100,000 actions for $100, and then you're saving $1,000 or something like that. That math, yes, $900. Okay, cool. Next up, this is long awaited, long overdue as well. This is conditional elements inside the email builder. So this allows you to segment your like the emails that you're sending a lot easier, rather than having to set up completely different campaigns for potentially different segments of your list. You can actually just create blocks of content inside of your email builder that are conditional based on the conditions you define. So how does this work? You can come in here. Now you can only do this right now. It doesn't look like you can do this at the entire section level. So it looks like just each one of these content blocks allows you to, but you now have this new tab beside edit called visibility that allows you to define, do you want this to disappear on desktop, mobile, vice versa, and then conditional sending right here, which allows you to say, hey, if this specific field, right, if this is a client, let's go with contact type. Oh, I can't search these yet. Let's go. I don't see it in there. Select a custom field. Oh, might not be able to do that with contact type yet. That's typically how this works, right? It usually takes a little bit before all of the desired functionality goes in there. For some reason, we don't see type in here. But we could say like current role, set your condition is, loan officer, whatever, right? And in this case, for you guys, it would be more like interest rate is greater than this, or first-time home buyer is false. And if first-time home buyer is false, then we're going to hide this section of our newsletter or something that's geared towards first-time buyers. I don't know how. I don't know. Use your imagination. This is a cool function. This is something that we've looked for internally for a while. So another thing that we're really excited about. All right, next up, we now have internal comments inside of the conversation log that are timestamped, and you can mention people inside these comments as well. So when we go in here, we now have the ability to select this internal comment. The UI of this is kind of weird. The interface of this is kind of weird right now, I think. I'm sure this is going to get better. In fact, I know that it's going to get better. They're overhauling the entire conversations interface in the next few months. From what I understand, I thought it was going to be announced this last week, but it'll come. But either way, internal comment, we now have the ability to tag, mention people inside of our account. So we can say, hey, check this out. They'll get notifications when they get mentioned, obviously. And then this internal comment, let's see, internal comment test. Boom. It's all blurred out right now, right? Because I have everything blurred out so that you guys can't see private information. This now turns that contact, though, the user that you assign, this turns that person into a follower of that contact automatically. So interesting functionality there. You see it's timestamped in here. Now our clients can't see this, obviously. This is internal use only. So cool way to be able to communicate with people. Again, a theme of this is better communication between the workflow notes and this now. Really, really cool that HighLevel is focusing on our ability to communicate within the HighLevel account and within our team members better. All right, next up, we now have the ability to designate searchable fields beyond just contact information. So inside of your contact section, you have the ability, you have the ability to search your contacts. So if we come in here, we can search up here, and typically we can search by, look, it's all identified here. Search by name, email, business name, tags, or phone. I don't even think we could search by all of those things before, but now we can. But we have the ability, when you hover over this, it says customize here, and then it takes you into custom fields, which is where I was. And you can also access this inside of custom fields, hitting this right here and hitting edit searchable data. We can select our object and we can say, okay, what do we want to be searchable within this? So the example that I used internally in my account was like NMLS number, right? Let's say I want to be able to search for LOs by NMLS number now. This would make that possible. We had a client that sends out direct mail campaigns, and it was frustrating because he wanted to be able to upload the database into the account ahead of time and have loan officers find the contact via their offer code, right? But that offer code was not searchable, and so instead they had to ask for information in order to be able to search it. Huge pain in the butt. Actually, we ended up moving it outside to a different tool. But this is now way easier. And now we can put that offer code in here, and now it's searchable right back there in the contact area. So go in here, play around with this. Loan number would be something that, you know, you might do, property address, right? Whatever it is that you typically associate with your borrowers and want to search, you can now designate as a searchable field and add it to your contact search area. Really cool. All right, next up, we've got an update to snippet management. Now, if you don't know what snippets is, it's like templates, but using the word templates is confusing because we have templates in a different section. And so snippets are basically just sections of text that you've identified that you can use in, you can use it in your Facebook messages, you can use it in your Instagram messages, obviously your text messages, your emails, etc. It shows you what type this is, right? Text or email. But you can use these for your social media as well. But you now have the ability to create folders. Basically, they moved this UI to the UI that they now use for pretty much everything, where you can come in here, you can create folders, everything's searchable. So if you wanted to come in here and search something, you know, search invoice, boom, now it's showing me all of the snippets where we mention, I don't know if it's searching the body or just this section over here, but either way, we've got these in here, and now we can add a folder if we want to. We can say these are invoice related snippets. All right, save that folder. Now I can grab these and I can move them to my invoice related snippet folder. Right, and so now I can come in here for quicker navigation, and then also when I come into an actual conversation, right, let's go to a conversation really quick. And I'll pull up one of these snippets. So we go here, this is where you find your snippets, you insert here, and boom, now it's organized into folders here as well, which will make it so much easier. Specifically our clients that use snippets for interacting with leads, it can get really cumbersome to navigate. So this is gonna be cool. We can take them down what's called the path, right? And have that path all in one folder. So definitely check this out if you use snippets. If you don't use snippets, now is a good time to start. All right, next up, we've got a couple updates related to the social planner. So first off, we have the ability now to post to a Facebook story, right? So this is on business pages only still. But before, we only had the option to post to our feed and post a reel. Now you have the option to post a story, which is cool because because business pages in general get really low engagement. But stories are things that I actually do see businesses, like of businesses, in my feed, and I think that's probably just because it's, you know, the future of Facebook engagement, and so they drive activity in that area. So this might be a good way for you business pages that don't get a lot of attention, most of us, right? To be able to become a little bit more relevant is posting to that story. You now have the ability to do that directly inside the social planner. You also have the ability to post LinkedIn carousels now, which I'm not a huge LinkedIn user, but this is new. So if you are, we come in here, we go to LinkedIn, let's see, advanced options maybe. Nope, not right there. I imagine it's going to be, let's see if we can figure this out. We'll add an image there, and then can I add more here? No, that's a watermark. Hey, that's pretty good looking. What happens if I add another one? Maybe that's all I have to do. So if I go here, no, it's just swapping it out. So I'm not 100% sure how you create the carousel, but this is now apparently doable. So if you know how to do this, let me know. If you're interested in learning and you don't know, let us know also. We'll figure this out, but just not exactly sure how to execute that right now, and don't know how many people are looking to post LinkedIn carousel. So we're gonna move on. All right, next up for Social Planner, we got a massive update to the statistics in the social area. So it used to be you were only getting like number of likes and number of impressions or number of comments potentially on each post. This is like the statistics inside of Social Planner is new as it is, relatively speaking, a few months old. But we now have the ability to see broken down by platform. I don't know why it's only showing these two. Maybe it's just based on where we actually post. Not 100% sure. I imagine that's it. But anyways, you now have way better visibility into what's going on with your social account. So again, cool. It might not be everything that you need, but it is pretty cool to see them investing more in this direction, because at some point it definitely is going to be everything that you need. That's just how HighLevel works. And why we bet on HighLevel is because it's not just about the functionality they have today. It's about that continued investment in growth and improvement that we've seen from them for years to come, or years prior, and hopefully we'll continue to see for years to come. All right, speaking of better data, we now have way better email marketing statistics, specifically for workflow campaigns. So this is really cool. If we go into your email marketing section and you go to campaigns, you have basically visibility into all the campaigns that you've sent, one-off campaigns that you've sent. You now have the ability to navigate to workflow campaigns and see how workflows are performing, both individual emails in those workflows and those workflows as a whole. This is brand new. This is really cool. If we open up one of these, it'll show us the same kind of summary that we see, but we have the ability to select like which email is performing better, right? And so this is really cool. As you can see, this is a course preview workflow. We've got good open rate there. We can break this down by email and we can look at what our open rates are on individual emails and make adjustments as needed there. Yeah, really cool. We're really excited about this. All right, also pertaining to email marketing, guys, I told you this was going to be a huge one. This is probably going to end up being like a half-hour update. Maybe we split it into chunks. I don't know. But the next update that we have is you now have Postmaster tools that you can integrate as long as you're using Lead Connector email. We still have clients that are using like our Mailgun connection. We still are using our Mailgun connection in a couple of instances. As long as you're using Lead Connector email, you now have the ability to come in here, whether using Microsoft SDNS, SNDS. So this is going to be some sort of, this is going to be related to designated IPs. I'm sorry, dedicated IP addresses. So if you pay HighLevel for a dedicated IP address, then they unlock this Microsoft SDNS. They're basically like, it's a Postmaster tool. So it's Outlook's email servers telling you your reputation on their servers, and that's what Google does as well. So this is Gmail servers. If you sign up for Google Postmaster, you connect your domain. This is something that we use to measure the viability of an email campaign and whether or not a particular domain is ready to send a particular campaign and get good deliverability. This is going to show you things like your spam score, your IP address reputation, your domain reputation, stuff like that. So this is really cool for those of you guys that want to geek out and learn more about email deliverability. I definitely recommend just a quick Google search, like Google Postmaster email deliverability. Go through a little tutorial. You won't regret it. Definitely a great tool for improving your email deliverability. All right, next up, we have a really, really exciting update. Now, I'm going to tell you this is a really, really exciting update, but it's not ready for loan officers, in my opinion. Okay, there are definitely some cool stuff that we can do in here that'll improve relationships between contacts, but we still can't do a lot of things related to like sending communication based on those relationships. And so this is a feature that is new. It is going to, like what HighLevel always does, is they make it look like it does what it should do first, and then they actually make it do what it should do. And so we're going to see that with this, and it might take a couple months before we see this really, really be what us as, you know, in the mortgage industry want to see this as. And the more you invest in it now, the more you're going to have to change it. So I would recommend holding off on this. This is cool. If you are using it successfully, I would love to hear about it. I'm just typically going to be a little bit more cautious about these major changes that HighLevel's implementing. This new one that HighLevel implemented is we now have the ability to create custom objects inside of HighLevel. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into the custom object stuff right now. The one that I will jump into, because it doesn't require as much of an investment into like changing the infrastructure of your CRM, the one that I will jump into is being able to create relationships, contact to contact relationships. Okay. And so what we're going to do, if we go into objects now, you're only going to have access to this if your agency is on the $497 agency plan. Luckily, all of our clients, none of our clients have that to worry about. Most people probably don't if they are paying for HighLevel through an agency. But if you pay for HighLevel directly, you are not going to get access to this custom object, at least not yet. But what you do have the ability to do is you have the ability to create associations. So if you go into here and you click on contacts, we now can create a label for an association between two contacts. So an example of this would be like buyer's agent and client, right? And so this would allow us to label a relationship between more clients. Now, here's like this right here is why this doesn't work yet, okay? In a relationship, in a like object relationship CRM, a relationship, I don't know how they say it, relationship management CRM, I don't know. But basically one that allows you to create as many objects and relationships as you want to. What you have is the ability to define how much you want to limit that relationship. So for example, every contact only has one buyer's agent, right? In no situation would you have a contact that has multiple buyer's agents. Well, that affects seriously the functionality of how you can use this data to be able to perform automations and look up what buyer's agent, right? You're not going to be able to look up a buyer's agent as long as this is a many-to-many relationship, because if you tell HighLevel, hey, bring me the buyer's agent, then they need to be able to say which one. Even if we don't have it set up with 5 buyer's agents, this data model requires them to be prepared for that. And so that's going to limit what you can do with this functionality. All of that is a lot of technical mumbo jumbo to say, follow us. I will tell you when this is ready for the prime time. If you guys have any use cases for this, if you're using this and it works for you, great. I would love to hear about it. But for right now, most of our clients, most of our followers are going to get confused and frustrated by using this right now, thinking that it is what they've been waiting for when it isn't quite there yet. So the ideal, right now, another thing that we can't do with custom objects is we can't create associations with opportunities. You'll notice the only standard object listed in here is contacts right now. Once we can create relationships with opportunities, we're one step closer. Then we still need the ability to create a field where this opportunity can only have one buyer's agent. This opportunity can only have one listing agent. It can only have one borrower 1. It can only have one borrower 2. Like, we have to be able to do those types of things in order to be able to control what communications go where, and therefore use this for how loan officers want to use this, which is the ability to send milestone updates to multiple people at one time. There are workarounds for being able to do that right now, but considering where this is at, if you don't have that implemented, I would not be investing in it. I would be waiting a couple months, because this is going to be exactly what you need at some point. All right, next up, this is really good news for those of you guys that need to import databases, specifically closed loan databases, or potentially databases of agents that you're working with, that you are currently working with. Now, what this allows you to do is this allows you to create both opportunities and contacts in one single import. So again, this can come in very handy. This is not a default. This is not something that you should do no matter what. For example, if you have a database of 500 agents, but you don't necessarily have any agents that are further along than others in your relationships, or maybe you only have a 5 or 10 agent relationships and the rest are just database entries, basically. You would not want to create opportunities for each one of those agents in that case. If you're importing a closed loan database, you definitely would want to come in here and import both opportunities and contacts. And the reason why is because you want to be able to store their loan data related to an opportunity. Maybe you had 3 loans with somebody over the last 10 years. You need to be able to represent that. And the way you would do that is by being able to create opportunities and contacts in here. So this is really cool. Usually you have to depend on workflows and tagging and whatnot. You might still, in a lot of cases, again, it's a new feature, so it's going to be limited in what we can do with this. But just know you do now have the ability to, if you go into opportunities and you click import, let me make sure there, okay, go into that. We come into here and we click import. We can select both contacts and opportunities. We can create both of those at the same time as we import. All right, next up, speaking of opportunities, you have the ability to customize what your opportunity cards look like, and you have the opportunity to customize this on a per pipeline level. So this is really cool. I'm taking an Arrive integration, an account that has an Arrive integration as an example. We've got loans in process here. We now have the ability to put on this opportunity card. So if I go to manage fields, this is where I manage this, right? I now have the ability to designate custom fields that I want to throw up here. So whether it's specific milestones, right? I have closing date and subject property address that I added up here, which I think is a really cool view. There's probably probably other things that you could imagine doing with this. Obviously on the lead side, you might want to like add some different information, specifically, maybe information they submitted on the lead form or something like that. Definitely really cool that we can now customize this on the level that we can. I would love to see what you guys are doing with this. Let me know. We're definitely interested. Again, this is our interpretation, our take on it, but we'd love to see yours. All right, next up, recurring tasks. This one's really simple, straightforward. If you didn't know, you can create tasks that aren't actually related to contacts. So an example of something that we would want to do here would be like, let's say rather than trying to create tasks for every individual client that we want to follow up with, we say we do like weekly pipeline check-in call. And I want to do this every week, blah, 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 right? Set up my due date here, set it up every week. Really cool. This is something that we've seen people do some crazy stuff to be able to create inside of workflows. Now you can do it directly inside of a task. All right, guys, this next update is crazy, and I hope it doesn't get buried in here. It probably will. We'll probably need to talk about it more and more. But this is really, really cool. We now have the ability to send group messages from inside of your HighLevel account. That's right, group text messages. So we have had clients in the past that is the way that they do introductions with their clients, right? Is it's typically a three-way text with the agent, right? Well, now you have the ability to give them your HighLevel phone number and you can accept those group messages. Not only that, you can create group messages in here as well. If you want to create a group message, you can go to conversations, you can click create new message. It's now just going to ask you right away if you want to send that group message, right? And this is only going to be available if you're using Lead Connector. So again, for our clients, we'll have a little bit of a delay with this, but we are getting everybody switched to Lead Connector at this point, or at least those that want to have access to these features. We'll communicate that with you guys. But really excited about this. Definitely check this out, try it out. Let us know what you think. Group messaging, man, right? Like what more is there to say? All right, next up, updates to reputation management, specifically the ability to do review balancing. So essentially you can come in here and you can add your different review providers in here, and then you can select review balancing, and you can essentially balance between the number of different review providers that you have. And there's other types of accounts that you can configure in here as well. Let me see if we go into overview here. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so Yext allows you to integrate more. So anyways, you come in here, you can select different listings. There we go. Select different providers, and then you can balance them. Essentially, you can make it so that, this provider gets 5, this provider gets, the next 5, whatever it is. I want this provider to get 70%, this provider to get 30%. I just need a Yelp one to show up every once in a while, but I'm not going to invest in that that platform, whatever it is. You can now do that, which I think is pretty cool. Speaking of review management, we also now have the ability to detect spam reviews. Specifically those of you guys that use Facebook, that get those like, hey, this crypto Forex trader was instrumental to my success and all that. Like, you get some really weird stuff on Facebook. This is cool. I haven't seen it in action yet. We turned it on yesterday. So hopefully this helps us battle like what is a lot of spam on Facebook, because it's pretty much rendered our Facebook business reviews useless. Like almost everything is about some crypto scam. All right, speaking of reviews, back to workflows for just a second. You can now trigger a workflow off of a review being received. And so you can come in here and you can define which source you're using. And I think in integrations is where you would manage the different places that you connect with this. Not 100% sure. We'll have to check on that. But if you come in here, the two that we do have connected are Facebook and Google. So you can create different actions based on these reviews being received. So whether it's just an internal notification that you guys send, I don't know, like what else can we do in here? Send, is there a send live chat message? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like on Facebook, you probably can respond to it, I would imagine, in some way, shape, or form. But for right now, it looks like it's more just for internal notifications, or potentially, you can, if you are running a contest internally where like your LOs, any LO who gets a review where their name is mentioned, then, where the processor is mentioned, then the processor gets a $20 gift card, $25 gift card or something like that. You could actually do that all automatically, technically speaking, by using this workflow builder, which I think is pretty cool. Maybe some of you guys are thinking about that stuff, maybe not. But yes, definitely you can now trigger workflows off of that review received. Almost done, guys. 2 more. The next one that we have is you have the ability to import blog posts. Now this one's kind of weird. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. I haven't seen it in action yet, but if this works the way that I think it does, it looks like you can basically take a WordPress blog, just provide the link, and then it's going to pull the content directly in. So it's cool if you're going to use this for only your content, but it makes it really, really easy for somebody to jack your content too, which I'm not a huge fan of. So we'll see how this gets used, if it gets abused or not. But if you guys do have a blog right now on a existing WordPress site and you're worried about bringing that content over, this is a really cool way to test that out. To go in there, just put in your blog post URL, import it. You're going to see it. I imagine it's going to pull your images in and your content breaks and your formatting and whatnot. So give that a shot if you are using a blog for SEO or not using one because you can't get your old WordPress plugin. You now have that ability. All right, last update, guys. You now have the ability to limit your chat widget to only business hours, to basically define business hours for your chat widget. Before it was all or nothing. You now have the ability to come in and say, all right, I want, if we go, there we go, chat window. If I go here, business hours setup, enable business hours, I can enable an out of office message right here that makes it so that they can't chat. But then also just keep it up for my business hours there. So this is for live chat. This is cool. You can link a bot to it. You can actually have somebody man it. It pulls in information related to the contact, and we'll link that up with the contact that you have already stored for that individual at the point that you pull the email address, like get the email address in the live chat. So does that contextually. Really cool feature, underused in my opinion, but also not a lot of us have the resources to man a live chat. So now, between being able to define specific business hours, if that's how you want to handle this, or use your bot that you create inside of Conversation AI and have that man the bot, you got a couple different options for this. All right, guys, that is it for this week's weekly breakdown. The craziest, longest one I've done for sure. I don't know how we're going to get you guys to watch more than 10 minutes of that. Hopefully you save it and watch it in chunks. Every bit of it is worth it. That was after an hour, 2 hours of going through the features and making sure we take out anything that wasn't relevant. So definitely get it if you get a chance. Sit through, watch that. If you're watching this, you probably already have. So this is falling on deaf ears. Preaching to the choir, I should say. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're excited to come at you next week with hopefully a lighter update, but really some still impactful stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Until then, see you at the top.